This is the first of the move, not away, but into new areas of defense. So today I'm going to be talking, as you can see, about Leonardo. So this is just going to be a bit of a basic overview. So the full name is Leonardo Aerospace Defense and Security. And to start off, with those who like their tech, you'll know them for their contribution to Typhoon upgrades and development. Their unmanned systems like Crex B1, AW Hero, Eurodrone, stuff that's upcoming. But let's be honest, realistically, technologically, we all know them, and they are notorious, infamous for their helicopters, in which they either take sole or leading roles in the design, manufacturing, project management, for various pretty incredible, very, very capable helicopters that are used by lots of countries around the world, but particularly in Europe. So that's stuff like the Wildcat. For those who don't know, the Wildcat is a super version of the Super Lynx, which itself is a super version of the Lynx. So it's an incredibly adept and upgraded Lynx platform. And of course the Merlin, and the Augusta Westland Apache Longbow. And that is something else that is important about Leonardo in regard to helicopters, is that they had a merger with Augusta Westland, which effectively allows them to take part in all of the sort of roles that Augusta Westland used to take part in, as well as their own role, particularly pertaining to the helicopter arena of defense. So some would consider them, now that they have completed their merger, Europe's effectively premier rotary wing platform manufacturer. If you see a helicopter with the code name beginning with AW, that's made by Leonardo's Augusta Westland subsidiary. So in regard to sort of an overview of their areas of expertise and what they do, as we know with a lot of defense firms, they tend to cover a lot of areas, in manufacturing, in research and development, in general technologies, even civilian technologies. So what Leonardo says they do, or their main sort of technological, as it were, areas of expertise: artificial intelligence, digital enablers, materials for defense technology, quantum materials, which I'll have to go into, design and integration technologies, communication networks, electronics systems, mechanics, software architecture, and processing power, optronics, cyber technology, flight technologies, modeling and simulation for sort of military use, autonomous technologies, propulsion. And in regard to technological areas, that's sort of largely where they not stop, but those are their technological fortes. So what I'd like to do is sort of now give out some stats about their various areas of sort of intense engagement, what they are famous for. So I've sort of grouped this into electronics, helicopters, aircraft, cyber and security stuff, space, unmanned systems, aerostructures, and automation. So, in regard to electronics, they have more than 1,000 air defense surveillance radars in 58 countries, air traffic control systems at 200 airports across 110 countries, 43 ports in 6 countries equipped with maritime traffic control systems. So in their electronics field, they are not, purely defense. They have a lot of commercial and civilian use, which is, I think, massively important. For helicopters, they have 4,300 helicopters in 130 countries, and that's not just military, that is civilian as well. 1,400 customers, 90 technical support centers, and 5 training academies for the use of helicopters, 156 simulators and training devices. For aircraft, more than 7,000 aircraft produced, including more than 200 trainers sold in more than 40 countries. 680 Eurofighters ordered by 9 countries. They had a large sort of developmental and still continuing role on upgrading Eurofighter. over 172 flight hours for the C-27J fleets worldwide, more than 1,200 aircraft operating from approximately 50 sites or bases. In regard to cyber sort of technology and security, they have over 5,000 networks and 70,000 users cyber protected in 130 countries, 90,000 security events monitored per year. 90,000 security events monitored not per year but per second. 200 control rooms, over 50,000 terminals managed sort of to provide secure communications for Italian police forces. So they're not just involved in defence abroad, they're also involved in sort of domestic defence, as it were, in police forces and other government-related organisations. In regard to space, which is something we're beginning to branch out to now, they have the world's most powerful operational hyperspectral instrument aboard the ASI Prisma satellite. More than 1.2 million radar images acquired using something they worked on, Cosmo SkyMed constellation, developed by ASI in cooperation with the Italian Ministry of Defence. More than 50% of the living space on the International Space Station is developed by them and Thales Alenia Space, so collaboration there. In regard to unmanned systems, they have unmanned systems operating in 27 countries worldwide, 825 unmanned systems, including 125 surveillance aircraft, including stuff like sort of ISR and civilian use stuff, as well as 700 target drones delivered worldwide. In regard to aerostructures, there have been more than 1,700 aircraft sold in more than 200 airlines in 100 countries. More than 1,100 Boeing 787 fuselage sections produced, so they are involved in a lot of civilian stuff. More than 2,000 Airbus A321 fuselage sections produced. And in regard to automation, baggage handling systems at 28 airports worldwide, with traffic of around 800 million passengers per year. And also mail sorting in 7 countries and over 23,000 meters of sorters installed. What I hope this gives you is a look at sort of beyond their military use, which, I mean, they are notorious, they are famous for military use because they have such iconic projects. But they also have massive civilian use, massive commercial use, and I think that's what's largely ignored. We love the technology, but it's sort of easily implemented and integrated across other platforms that are useful to society beyond defence. Defence firms do not just make guns. They make stuff that benefits society more broadly, other than the defence of it, than the protection of it. So I think that's a rather important point to make, and Leonardo is certainly an exemplar of that. Just sort of an overview of financial information. In regard to 2021, because we're not yet at the end of 2022, so for financial year 2020, ending in 21, they had 14.1 billion euros in revenues, 35.5 billion euros in portfolio value, 14.3 billion euros of 2021 orders. So that's industrially, militarily, commercially. 150 countries in their commercial network in 2021. 106 sites, sort of actual physical sites worldwide. More than 400 technologies within their portfolio. 12.8% of annual revenues invested in R&D, so that's research and development, and the progression towards future innovation. And that's not just militarily. And 50% of investments aligned with SDG. And so for those who don't know what that is, that's sort of the environmental standards that people or firms attempt to meet, particularly across the sort of European space. So I think I'm going to leave it there because I don't want this to drag on for too long. I want these to be about 10 minutes, these little overviews. But I hope that gives you a bit of a look into Leonardo and stuff beyond just its military use. So that's the end.